Hello, so my project that I wanted to do is kind of like a book recommendation system. So I have a data set of books that has category, authors, description, the title of the books, the price. It has a different random number generator for the rating, and the goal is to make a mini program that when the user gives a prompt, um, I need to measure the user intent by using the cosine similarity, and then based on the intent, I give a recommendation for the type of books that customer might be interested in. So starting off, these are some of the libraries that I used. Pandas to create the data frame, NumPy for data frame manipulation, and I imported NLTK to pre-process here to pre-process the user prompt, and also to tokenize and to do a features column that I used to concatenate all the relevant information that I was going to use and give it into a single column. I also used a lemmatizer for the lemmas, and this is some of the pre-processing that I did. First, I downloaded the data frame, and here we can see some of the information that we have. I dropped some null columns that I had. I removed the stop. I initialized the stop word setter and the lemmatizer, and for the price, I also did some pre-processing here to remove the unwanted text. So here for the pre-process, I did the features column that combines the title, the genre, the description, the author, and I made one column out of that, and then I tokenized it, and then I used the lemmas, and at the end I concatenated back into a final features column. So now this is the before, this is the new column that I had. Now I also had to pre-process the user input, and it follows a similar approach with the tokenizer, and I had to lemmatize, use the lemmas tokenizer on it. For the user intent, I use the sentence transformers, and I used this model, the Paraphrase Mini LML6v2, and I developed kind of like an intent conditional dictionary that determines if the user intent is book related, not book related, or if it's just a book request that needs some action. So this too determines kind of like a berry response that is going to direct is going to direct the code to process the book request. So it's going to let the user know if that this is not an available option, that it should be in this format for the request that the user wants with their books. So this is where I use the embeddings to determine the intent. And after I measure the intent, it's gonna return as this is an example. So if I say I want books about small ogres, it's gonna determine the intent and be like, this is a book request. And how it's doing that is that it's measuring the cosine similarity to the sample intent that I specify here, and if the user prompt is close to any of them, that's what's going to return. Now, to get the top matches of books that are related to the user request, I also did the cosine similarity using the TF-IDF vectorizer. And what I returned from here was the top matches, the 5 top matches with the highest cosine similarity scores, and I also returned the cosine scores for reference. And this is being based on the user input and the TF-IDF matrix of the features column that has all the relevant information. Now this is an interesting part. I imported pipeline from transformers to do a summarization pipeline. And what this is doing for the top 5 book suggestions that are returning is giving a short summary based on the max token length that I give it, and it's letting the user know that it's giving them a reference of what the book is actually about without actually returning the whole summarization. I mean the whole category that it has about books. And this function, what it's doing is going to display the top. It's just going to display the top matches and their cosine similarity scores. And this is where everything happens. So this is a loop that is taking the user input, and it's going to apply all those functions. It's going to get the intent, and when the intent is the book request, then it's going to call the get top matches cosine similarity, and then it's gonna call the display function along with the summarizer to give the book summarization and the 5 recommendations. So here we can see a demo. It starts with saying, please describe the book that you're interested in, or type Q to exit. So I'm just gonna say I want action or comedy books. And then it's gonna take a little while to run because it has to do the summarization. Now this is just a warning when I go over the tokens. So if the summarization token that I specify is higher than the actual summary of the book in the data frame, it's going to throw this warning. But here we can see the top 5 matches that it has, and we can see the title of the book. We can see what category it is. We can see the score of the cosine similarity, and we can see the summarization of the book. And then it's going to give the second one, and it mostly return comedy movies because they are probably the most prevalent in this data set. Yeah, so we can do another loop. For example, if I say, hey, then it's going to measure the intent that is not actually a user book request. And then it's going to say, I'm not sure how to help with that. Please try asking about books. But there is also the other intent category that if it is not a book request, but if it is book related, then it has another conditional that is going to return. For example, which is the cheapest book? It's gonna tell you that you have to specify a more it's something that the prompt can work with here, that the function can work with. So we can say I want books by James Stephen, and then it's gonna process that as an actual book request, and it's gonna see if we can find the author based on the cosine similarity and give the 5 most prevailing matches. So it did not find James Stephen. I actually just made up that name, but here we have some Stevens in the matches. And Stephen James, yeah. So that's how my function searches for similarity, and this is the end result that the user can acquire. Thank you, and this is everything for my project.